Before Arnold and before modern bodybuilding as we know it, there was the golden era, a time where physique weren't just big, they were art. From Venice Beach to Gold Gym, guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane, Serge Nubret, Robbie Robinson built a body that still define aesthetic nowadays. There was no shortcut, there was no machine doing the work. It was intent, control, and a deep understanding of what real training meant. Today, I'm going to take you back in time to look at 5 exercises that were staples into building those golden era classic physique. Let's go. The number one exercise that I have for you are sternum tune-up. It was popularized by Vince Gironda into the 60s, and he trained and coached plenty of athletes and thus began to popularize it amongst peers like Serge Nubret or Frank Zane, but more importantly, more into the 80s with Samir Benoot and Mohamed Makawi. Instead of pulling straight up, you will arch your back, drive your chest toward the bar and squeeze the shoulder blade together at the top. It's part vertical pull, part row at the top, and thus it's working the lats, the traps and the spinal erectors all in one. You lead with the chest, not with the chin. That's how the legends build width and thickness, with perfect control. Number 2 that I have for you would be again an exercise for back, and that would be the cable row with a rounded back. Now, it's been actually invented or at least done already into the silver era, especially by the likes of Steve Reeves, and even John Grimek himself was known to have experimented with it. But it's truly with Pumping Iron documentary that we started to really see this exercise around with Arnold, Robbie Robinson, Dave Draper, and so on and so forth. All these guys that really made this movement much more famous for good and bad reason. You see, it's not about keeping their back rigid like modern lifters. It's about stretching forward and letting the shoulder blade go in full protraction. Then pulling back with the elbow into a full contraction at the lats. Rounding the back just lets you travel more forward through the entire range of motion, while you use the rib cage as a redirection of the lat fibers. So it was not about ego or textbook posture. Actually, even Steve Reeves in his books told people to literally use half the weight they're used to have onto the cable row with more straight back, or even the cable row with a very tonic and hanging back cable row. So it's really a very small movement that you have to do, and a very controlled one at that, into a very precarious or weird position. Technically speaking, what you see in Pumping Iron is not good form. It's not demonstrated the best. But strictly speaking, the essence of a movement was there, because we did not wait for the science-based guys to tell us about the full elbow adduction and the lat bias exercise to actually do it. They were already doing it more than 50 years ago. Next up, we have the Pullover press, or more recently called the Californian press. Originally invented by Jock Mike Williams into the 40s, this kind of hybrid movement became a Venice Beach staple for triceps builder. You basically perform a pullover and then you press the bar straight up, like a closed grip bench press, in one continuous motion. So it will train the chest, the triceps and the lats all together, forcing total body control and stability. The likes of Arnold and Franco Columbu use this regularly to develop chest density and tricep thickness, but you can also find a few strength feats from other athletes, even Vince Gironda himself, on this movement, who was at the time a staple. What I recommend you to do is do it with an easy bar. Grab the easy bar from behind, or if you do not have enough shoulder flexibility, take the bar on your legs and then lie down. But make sure to always keep the triceps and the lat engaged, and then explode on it when you are into the closed grip bench bottom position. And the easy bar will make it so that your wrist and your elbow are much better aligned with the resistance, and you will squeeze in a bit more triceps gains. I personally adore this exercise, and I do variation also of it, and I really see the gains both on me and onto the people that I coach. And by the way, if you're searching for someone that do include this exercise into training programs, you can check out my coaching services, and you can also check out my ebooks, where I do, depending on the split, always some kind of golden era or silver era type of simple but brutal and effective program. Number 4. The donkey calf rise. This exercise is actually a staple since the 40s, and yet again, it's thanks to the golden era athletes and legends that we know about this, because at the time of the 40s, if you did not stumble perfectly onto the spot where Steve Reeves and George Fairman, for example, would train, you wouldn't know about it. It looks extremely funny, but the biomechanics are genius. By leaning forward, you will fully stretch the posterior chain and also the calves without involving the knees and without allowing it to have any kind of escaping the weight. So it isolates or biases extremely well the gastrocnemius. There is pure tension from top to bottom. Arnold used to say that we trained calves until they cramped, and it was a very, very weak point of his that he trained extremely hard to get back. And at the peak of his reign, Arnold had some of the most dominant calves of the entire roster of the Golden Era legend. So this movement alone turned his weakest muscle into one of his best features. And the best part, you can still do it today. You can do it with a backpack, you can do it with a weight belt, you can do it with a partner. If you can have a little setup into the Smith machine, you can also do it there. If you have a belt squat, you can do it inside. And if you are extremely lucky, you have specific calf machines that are made to be into that donkey position. So there is no excuse to not do it today. Last but not least, yet again, a back movement, and it will be the behind the neck pull down. It's thanks to the Golden Era athletes, especially guys like Serge Nebret, Arnold, and Robbie Robinson, that we know about this movement. First and foremost, it puts yourself into an alignment where the teres major and the most external fibers of the lats will become the prime mover for this exercise. Second, while it is exactly the same as the BTN press, here you are also forcing the external rotator of your shoulder and the thoracic spine to be extremely extended and work through, first, a very big range of motion, and second, into a position that if you can allow yourself to be in, you have a lot of mobility, you have a lot of strength and a lot of integrity into the whole shoulder complex. And also, you are strengthening the whole rotator cuff complex and especially the external rotators, as we said, that are the one and only little muscles that are competing against your very strong and tighter muscle on the front, like the pecs, for example. So if you can do BTN press and BTN pull, you have healthy shoulder and you are making sure to keep some kind of balance between the internal rotator and the external rotator of your shoulder. And plus, this is a unique angle, as we said, where you can really maximize as much so as possible the width part of your back while still working quite good onto your lower traps and the most of the movements that you can work with the vertical pulling motion. I know it's controversial now, but that's because people do it carelessly and their body are just not prepared for it. So for those of you who can do it with precision, it's still one of the best tools for symmetry and back width. Mobility first, control always, and I always recommend you to do a pause at the bottom. The philosophy of every rep being deliberate, every set having a purpose, and every exercise was part of an art form that balanced power and beauty. All these guys fought as sculptors. They would watch their body, study it, and then choose where to add clay and then refine it to have a better proportionate muscle and then a better proportioned body as a whole. So everything was thought through, and that's what built timeless physique, and it still is the same. If you want to train that way, even with minimal equipment, but maximal intention, you can. And if you want to look the part, my sponsor RetroMuscle made Golden Era 80s vintage clothes, such as this one, so you can check it out on their website and use my code HERSO10 for 15% reduction on your first order. This video is now over. Thank you so much, and remember, keep it classic. Take care.